Ghostly tales, yet mirrors of human life. Hey everyone! Welcome to Encountering Chinese, Ghostly Tales from Zhai. Today, I'm going to tell you a story called The Cricket. During the Xuande reign of the Ming dynasty, cricket fighting became a popular game within the imperial palace. As a result, the royal court would annually collect robust crickets from the populace. However, crickets were not originally native to Shaanxi province. A county magistrate from Huayin, aiming to please his superiors, presented an excellent cricket for a trial fight, which indeed displayed bravery and prowess in combat. Subsequently, the imperial court ordered Huayin County to annually contribute robust crickets to the royal court. The magistrate delegated this task to the local community leader, who was responsible for managing resident identities and tax collection. Some idle individuals in the market would capture good crickets and keep them in bamboo cages to raise prices, treating them as rare commodities for sale. The cunning bailiffs in the village would exploit this pretext, forcing several households to form groups and regularly submit a cricket as a contribution. Once designated, these families were compelled to exhaust their savings to purchase crickets. In the county, there was a man named Ming, a scholar who had failed the provincial examination for many years. He was conservative in character and lacked communication skills, so the cunning bailiffs reported to assign him the responsibilities of the local community leader. Ming tried every means to evade this duty, but he couldn't escape it. In less than a year, he not only failed to collect taxes but also depleted his meager savings. When the cricket collection came around, Ming couldn't afford to buy crickets and was afraid to assign them to households. He felt hopeless and contemplated suicide. His wife advised him, "What's the use of dying? Why not try catching a cricket yourself? There may still be hope." Ming agreed and spent his days searching for crickets, turning over rocks and digging in dilapidated ruins and overgrown areas, but he found nothing. Even if he managed to catch a few, they were inferior and undersized. With strict deadlines set by the county magistrate and relentless pressure, Ming was beaten severely, receiving hundreds of lashes within just a few days. His buttocks were covered in pus and blood, and he couldn't catch any crickets. Ming could only toss and turn in bed, contemplating suicide as his only thought. At that time, a hunchbacked witch arrived in the village, rumored to possess the ability to divine fortunes through spirits. Ming's wife prepared money to consult her. Outside the witch's house, there was a crowd of young women in colorful attire and elderly women with white hair. Inside the house, Ming's wife saw a curtain hanging in front of a secret room, with an incense table placed in front of it. The seekers lit incense in the censer and bowed twice. The witch lay on her back, facing the ceiling, murmuring prayers with words unknown to others. Everyone stood respectfully, silent. After a while, a piece of paper was thrown out from behind the curtain, accurately addressing the questions the seekers had in mind. Ming's wife placed money on the table and performed the rituals as others did. After about half an hour, the curtain moved, and a paper fell to the ground. She picked it up, expecting words but found a drawing instead. In the middle of the paper was a depiction of a palace-like building, resembling a temple, with a small mountain behind it. The mountain was surrounded by various peculiar stones and thorny bushes, and beneath them lay a large cricket with a green head. Next to it was a depiction of a toad, as if about to leap. She pondered over it repeatedly, feeling puzzled, yet upon noticing the cricket depicted in the drawing, she also sensed it might be related to the heart of the matter. She folded the drawing and brought it back home to show to Qingming. Qingming pondered repeatedly, thinking, could this drawing be telling me the location to catch crickets? He carefully examined the scenery depicted in the drawing, which resembled the great Buddha temple to the east of the village. Qingming struggled to get up, leaning on his cane, and holding the drawing. He arrived at the back of the temple. There, he found many ancient graves, and large and small stones scattered around, resembling the drawing entirely. Qingming listened intently in the wild grass, walking slowly as if searching for a needle in a haystack. However, despite exhausting his mental, visual, and auditory faculties, he neither saw nor heard any crickets. Nonetheless, Qingming continued his search. Suddenly, a toad leaped away, startling him, and he hurriedly chased after it. The toad jumped into the bushes, and Qingming followed its trail, parting the weeds until he spotted a cricket lurking among the grass roots. He swiftly pounced on it, but the cricket darted into a crevice in the rocks. Qingming used slender grass blades to coax it out, but it refused to emerge. He then poured water into the crevice with a bamboo tube, coaxing the cricket out. The cricket was agile in form, and Qingming managed to catch it in one swift motion. Upon closer inspection, he saw that it was large-bodied with long antennae, a green neck, and golden wings. Qingming was overjoyed and brought the cricket home in a cage. The entire family celebrated, happier than if they had found priceless gems. Qingming cared for the cricket meticulously, feeding it crab meat and chestnuts, and prepared to present it when the deadline arrived. Qingming had a 9-year-old son who, seeing his father absent, secretly opened the cage to take a look at the cricket. Unexpectedly, the cricket leaped out of the pot before he could catch it. In his attempt to grab it, he accidentally broke off its hind leg and cut open its belly, causing the cricket to die shortly after. Terrified, the son tearfully confessed to his mother. Upon hearing this, the mother's face turned pale, and she erupted in fury, exclaiming, "You wicked creature! Our doom is upon us. When your father returns, he'll surely hold you accountable." The son left home in tears. When Qingming returned and learned of the incident, he felt as if his whole body had been soaked in ice and snow. Furious, he went to find his son but discovered he had vanished without a trace. Later, he found his son's body in a well, his anger turning into deep sorrow. Qingming and his wife wailed in despair, nearly fainting. They lost their appetite, sitting in silence, overwhelmed by despair. As night fell, Qingming decided to bury his son hastily. However, upon touching his son, he felt a faint pulse. Joyously, he laid his son on the bed. In the middle of the night, the son briefly regained consciousness, bringing a glimmer of comfort to the grieving parents. However, the cricket cage remained empty. Every time Qingming glanced at it, he felt suffocated, unable to utter a word, yet he dared not investigate his son's mistake further. From dusk till dawn, he never closed his eyes. As the sun rose in the east, Qingming lay on his bed, still lost in his worries. Suddenly, he heard crickets chirping outside the door, startling him. He quickly got up to investigate but found the cricket seemingly still lurking there. Joyfully, he attempted to catch the cricket, but it hopped away swiftly after one chirp. Despite his efforts to cup it in his palm, it seemed as if there was nothing in his hand. Each time he lifted his hand, the cricket would escape. Frantically, he chased after it, but as he turned the corner, the cricket disappeared. Qingming hesitated, looking around, and then spotted another cricket clinging to the wall. Upon closer inspection, it was small, black with a hint of red, nowhere near as impressive as the one he had seen earlier. Dismissing it for its size, Qingming continued searching for the cricket he had initially wanted to catch. At that moment, the small cricket lurking on the wall suddenly leaped onto his clothing. Qingming glanced down and saw the cricket, resembling a ground beetle with plum blossom wings, square head, and long legs. He felt it seemed quite nice, so he happily captured it in a bamboo cage, intending to present it to the authorities. However, he remained uneasy, fearing the county magistrate's dissatisfaction. He decided to test the cricket in a fight before presenting it, just to see how it would fare. Coincidentally, there was a young man in the village who had trained a fierce cricket and named it Crab Shell Green. Every day, the young man would take his cricket to compete with others, and he often emerged victorious. Hoping to make a fortune from his cricket, the young man set a high price, but no one could afford it. He decided to visit Qingming and, upon seeing Qingming's cricket, couldn't help but laugh mockingly. The young man promptly took out his own cricket and placed it in the fighting cage. Qingming felt ashamed when he saw that the young man's cricket was much larger and more impressive than his own, but the young man insisted on a competition. Qingming thought to himself that if his cricket was of inferior quality, it would be of no use anyway, so he decided to participate to amuse himself. He placed his cricket in the fighting pit as well. However, Qingming's cricket remained still, appearing foolish, which only made the young man laugh louder. Qingming tried to provoke his cricket with a pig bristle, but it remained motionless. The young man laughed again. After several attempts to provoke it, Qingming's cricket became enraged and charged forward, sparking a fierce battle between the two crickets. They leaped and fought fiercely, chirping loudly. Suddenly, Qingming's cricket jumped up, aiming straight for Crab Shell Green's neck. Alarmed, the young man quickly separated them to stop the fight. Qingming's cricket then proudly spread its wings and chirped triumphantly, as if boasting of its victory. Qingming was overjoyed. As the two were admiring the small cricket, a rooster suddenly dashed in and pecked at it. Qingming stood there shouting in fear. Luckily, the rooster missed its target, and the cricket leaped more than a foot away. The rooster advanced swiftly, closing in on the cricket. Qingming, in a panic, didn't know how to intervene, stomping his feet and his face turning pale. Soon, he saw the rooster extend its neck and lunge forward. Upon closer inspection, he realized that the cricket had landed on the rooster's comb, biting down fiercely. Qingming was even more surprised, so he captured the cricket and returned it to the bamboo cage. The next day, Qingming presented the small cricket to the county magistrate, who disdainfully dismissed it as too small and scolded Qingming angrily. Qingming then narrated the remarkable abilities of the cricket, but the magistrate remained skeptical. To test it, the magistrate had the small cricket fight against others, all of which were defeated. He even tried having the cricket fight against a rooster, with the same outcome as Qing Ming had described. Delighted, the magistrate rewarded Qing Ming and promptly presented the small cricket to the governor. The governor, thrilled, placed the cricket in a golden cage and offered it to the emperor, along with a detailed account of its talents. In the palace, the cricket competed against all the precious cricket breeds from across the country but emerged victorious each time. Furthermore, it danced to the rhythm of musical instruments, adding to its mystique. The emperor was extremely pleased and highly praised the cricket. He even issued a decree granting the governor a prized horse and luxurious silk fabrics. The governor, in turn, did not forget the county magistrate's contribution. Before long, the county magistrate was recognized for his outstanding performance in an assessment. Naturally, the magistrate was delighted, relieving Qing Ming of his duties as the local official and instructing the imperial tutor to allow Qing Ming to advance to the county school. Over a year later, Qing Ming's son suddenly regained consciousness, claiming that a year earlier, he had transformed into a small cricket, agile and adept in combat. The governor rewarded Qing Ming generously once again. In just a few years, Qing Ming's family had acquired vast estates, with hundreds of cattle and sheep, and a grand residence complete with pavilions and towers. Whenever Qing Ming ventured outside, he dressed in fine furs, rode fat horses, rivaling even the most prestigious families. At the end of the story, the author provides the following commentary. The emperor's occasional use of certain items may not necessarily be remembered afterward, but other officials often make the offering of such items a customary practice. Coupled with the greed and tyranny of officials, the people are forced to sell their wives and children, with no end in sight. Therefore, the emperor's every action is vital to the livelihoods of the people, and he must not make mistakes due to momentary interests. Only Qing Ming, impoverished by the extortion of the county magistrate, became rich by presenting a cricket. From poverty to wealth, riding in luxury, could he ever have imagined such a transformation during his time as a lowly official? It seems that heaven intended to reward the honest and upright, even extending its protection to the governor and the county magistrate through a cricket. I have heard it said, when one person attains enlightenment, even the chickens and dogs in their household become immortals. It seems to be true indeed. Alright. That's all for today's ghostly tale. The Cricket. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Please also encourage everyone to comment and share more. We'll see you in the next episode.